Okay,
quickly.
whatever. Okay. Joe, whenever you ask how you guys doing, you do it. I'm gonna say something about my shit week, so just
Okay, we're recording. 5, 4, 3, 2. Take 3 Wrestling Podcast here, coming to you June 17th, 2021. I'm your host, Ernest Christian, alongside Mike Bernier, Joe Lopez. Fellas, it is Hell in a Cell week, but it's good.
I mean, isn't it always Hell in a Cell week? At least like
I
twice a
mean,
year.
one's perspective, I guess. Yeah.
I'll say that's both perspectives. It's definitely hell. It's definitely hell in the cell week. So before we start this, and we get to our lovely topics tonight, which include a preview of this week's Hell in the Cell,
Yes.
which we're gonna have a lot of fun with, I think. I'm gonna be very transparent with all of you at home. It's not been the greatest week for yours truly. For those of you watching at YouTube, this part of the show may suck a little bit. I'm doing this show tonight with probably one of the more bogged minds that I've had since we started recording. So if I tend to rant on about something, or I tend to be a little space cadet with some of my thoughts or whatever, I want you guys to know why, and I'm gonna be transparent with it. Friday morning, we record on Thursday nights. Obviously, Ernest gave you the date when we introed. I got awoken by my wife that my dad had fallen. He's not the greatest with his balance, so I said, okay, it's a prototypical. He fell. So I went over to my parents' house, and it was not good. They took him to the hospital. Basically, they don't know what's going on. It's been pretty rough for everyone in our household. He's been having seizures. They don't know how many. They don't know anything except for the fact that he's had multiple mini ones, and they're rapid, and it could be one right after another. It could be a couple of other things. But and then yesterday we got a really bad call that they rushed to put him on a ventilator, which a little bit later in the day we found out really wasn't the case. The medication that he was on for his seizures was one of the side effects is inflammation of the airway, and they decided to put him on it to help regulate his breathing, which thankful for that. Positive news today is that everything he's kind of weaning himself off of the seizure medication. We still don't know what's going on. I don't want to say like I know what I'm talking about, because obviously I'm not a doctor. Something isn't making sense. I don't know if it's an infection. I don't know if it's something weird going on. I know I told Joe. I didn't tell you, Ernest. The ICU doctor told us said something about mad cow disease, and we started looking up stuff, and I mean it's been a rough week. So this release is going to be nice. It's going to be nice to be with you two.
Yeah.
But I want everyone just bear with me this week if I'm a little out there. If you want, and you have my contact information, feel free to reach out to me. I just ask that you please do not post anything on my Facebook wall, because there are people that I am friends with on Facebook that do not know. It's a very minor few people. Now you at home know. But there's people in the family that I'm friends with on Facebook that we obviously don't want to know what's going on. So if you want to reach out, feel free. I'll be around. I'm helping my mom move tomorrow, so it's gonna be a rough day for me. But we'll be around, and any positive vibes and T's and P's are greatly appreciated to everybody out there. But I just look at it from the standpoint of if I'm a little out there tonight, I want you guys to know why. It's not one of those where Mike's phoning it in. Mike's had a really rough week, and it's been day by day putting the pieces together. So,
Well, let me say this much. Anyone, probably most people going through what you're going through will not even attempt to do the show tonight. The fact you're doing the show tonight speaks volumes. For a reason, whether it's an escape or just the show goes on kind of thing, whatever it may be. I think that's
absolutely agree with Ernest. And real life sucks, man, and that's why I choose to live my life like a pro wrestling storyline. If you pay attention to any of the drama in my life right now, the man who I married for money that he was lying about having is currently in the psych ward. If that's not a WCW 1999 storyline, I don't fucking know what
that
is.
is 99. That is post.
All it's missing is Stacy Keibler. Like if
It
we're
really,
being
it really is. This is David Flair and Crowbar all over again.
It really is, and I'm somehow Crowbar. Not okay.
Hey, we haven't even gotten to David Arquette yet. Imagine that.
Oh God.
Mike,
It's
is that
coming.
is that me moving to Florida? Is that like the transition to the David Arquette years?
I think so. I think we're.
I
Pivoting.
mean, who knows?
I'll
Well,
be
like
there
it already
soon.
is.
We're gonna find out. Becomes take 4 because David Arquette's our 4th co-host. It's not my fault.
David
No,
Arquette's champion. David Arquette's champion. Oh my God.
Next thing you know, me and Joe are sitting in the same room recording this, and David Arquette just pops his head over our shoulders, and we're like, "Where the fuck did you come from?"
Good David Arquette pop up, man. This for the podcast.
I
Oh, look at me.
I will ask him so many questions about Scream. That will be it.
I think if we do it, though, we have to get him dressed as Deputy Doofy.
Yes.
Sir,
Yes.
can we ask you about why you didn't bring the WCW title with you to the party? He said we're not going to take it anymore.
It's funny you said that because I just watched the Rise and Fall WCW a couple of days ago, and obviously they touch on David Arquette angle. Like, oh,
I just
Jesus.
watched Scream 2.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So before we get to the topics,
yes,
because I didn't get to announce this on the show last week because I made it on Friday, and I know some people don't follow us on Twitter. If you don't and you have a Twitter, follow us at Take 3 Wrestling. The Pro Wrestling Scorecard faction that I made for all the fun cards coming up with the prize for someone who has the most overall points.
yes.
I know you both are looking at me like you're confused because you didn't know where I was going with this.
I thought you were about to say something about Pete Dunne, and I don't know why.
The Bruiserweight.
Yes.
All white gear was Fuego box, by the way. That's all I'm saying.
Yo, it was. And not for nothing, but any man who's willing to wear all white in a situation where they're going to be extremely sweaty and potentially poop themselves, that is a brave motherfucking man. Pete Dunne wins like Man of the Year for that fashion choice alone.
Facts.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know, Pro Wrestling Scorecard, I created a faction or a group as you would know it. They put up the shows, they open up the prediction scales, and they add fun things to it. Like in the X Division match on the Impact show, it was like aerial moves over under like 8.5 or something, and you pick, and they give you like a little cushion of +or-1. But it's a fun little thing. Obviously, there have been 2 shows so far, In Your House and then Impact's Against All Odds. I'm gonna score everything, and maybe we'll make it where WWE and AEW show like count for like double points. So if some random person wins an NWA show, it doesn't count for 1,000,000 points or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But it's open.
You have the information.
Yeah, I gotta open it on my phone though. Hold on, because I was not prepared for this portion.
Who was was Tom first? Our boy Tom that was on this podcast a couple months ago.
Well, that was Jim. That was
Jim.
on
Jim. Sorry, Jim. Not
podcast,
Tom.
but you got it right. That is Tom's co-host.
Right.
On
okay,
their
I got mixed up.
podcast,
Sorry.
the 2 Spot Monkeys.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a surprise there. Well, apparently,
basically, that game right now is to find out how many different podcast hosts can beat us at making predictions.
All right, so when you go to ProWrestlingScorecards.com in the upper right-hand corner after you sign in, the third box will say factions. We are the Take 3 Wrestling private faction. To join our faction, you have to use the invite code, which is 7, A as in Alpha, 7, C as in Charlie, C as in Charlie, and then the number 1. We currently have 8 members. For the Takeover in Your House show, the top 5 were Tom with 81 points, Jim with 72 points, Ernest had 71, I had 68, and Joe had 56. And for the Impact show, there was only 4 of us that did it. Joe had 94 points, I had 87, Jim had 84, and then Jim from the
3 count.
3 count.
Oh, okay.
He had 58 points. So if you put all the points together in a fun little calculator, I think according to my document, I am technically, Jim is technically in first with 156 of the 2 Spot Monkeys podcast. I'm in second with 155. Joe's got 150. Big Jim has 105, and then the rest of the individuals are the only ones that picked just the In Your House show. So I think it's gonna be one of those things where it's gonna be fun because we're gonna have to like have people just randomly pick like things for shows just to not fall behind in the points.
Right.
So
Right.
I think it's gonna be one of those things that's gonna be kind of fun. And I saw that like in the champions section, it says something about NFL, so maybe they add the NFL to it too. So this is gonna get very interesting before it's all said and done.
This is disgusting.
So,
disgusting.
So for those of you at home that want to join, again, feel free. 7A. I don't fucking remember it. I fucking dropped. I closed the button so you guys could.
Alpha Omega.
Yeah.
Put it on Twitter.
I'll put it on Instagram. I'll put it on Instagram on the story whenever we post
the
slide. I'll put it on Twitter again. I'll put it on my personal Facebook again. For anyone that wants to join, we will give away a prize to whoever has the most cumulative points scored at the end of the year, and then we'll just keep this running into 2022 and make it a fun thing moving forward.
I will just say real quick, I was stunned. I actually placed ahead of you guys in the takeover fucking section. That was weird.
I feel like the funny part is if I had changed a lot of my predictions to what I went with on the show instead of with what I actually filled out, I might have done better. Because the conversation that we had last week put me in different places on, like, I definitely don't, I'm not positive if I had Karrion Kross winning and stuff like that. I think I did have him winning, actually.
I did not.
I think you're trying to sell Kyle O'Reilly to win, but maybe ultimately just said Karrion Kross is probably going to win anyway, regardless.
Yeah.
You know, I got crushed by
the Xia Li match.
No, that one sucked too for me.
Yeah,
but I got crushed by the Karrion the main event because I put Kyle O'Reilly as the winner, so that one kind of shafted me royally.
Oh, O'Reilly. Auto parts.
No!
I need that sound drop. Big Jim, where you at, man? Give that sound drop.
Yeah, my results. I only got 6 points from the Xia Li match, and I only got 5 from the NXT title match. So you can tell about how bad I did in those matches, and I still somehow finished with like 75 points.
I picked Xia Li because I thought she was cute. That's all.
So speaking of obviously really great network specials on Peacock, y'all want to talk about Hell in a Cell?
Let's do it. You know, this is going to be the last pay-per-view before the crowds come back. I'm going to miss these smaller, short cards, man. 5 matches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
4 matches now. 4
well,
matches
yeah,
now.
because which we'll get to in a second.
I'm sure they'll end up adding something.
Well,
yeah, I'm going to make a bold prediction on what it is, too, when we get there.
Okay, let's get to the first match real quick. First match on the list here, we got Alexa Bliss versus Shayna Baszler. This storyline is just weird.
I mean, the storyline's the same stuff they were doing with The Fiend and Randy Orton. They've taken Orton out and replaced him with another lesbian. It's no big deal. I'm not against it. At the end of the day, the funny part is, I think on paper, it's actually kind of a good match. And like in-ring wise, if this was in front of an NXT crowd at a takeover or something, this could honestly be like show stealing. I think because of the fact that they're going to end up playing some sort of crazy storyline stuff with Alexa and Lily and all that, that chances are this isn't going to be as good of a wrestling match as it could be. I think there's going to be a little too much like silliness and over the topness with it. So I'm not exactly excited for it. I'm going to say this. I'm so ready to be back in front of live crowds watching these shows. Like, I even said it to you guys the other day where, like, I watched Raw this week because, I don't know, I've had a lot of free time this week. I've watched a lot of wrestling.
That was so weird. You were texting us the other day, like, you're like, literally live tweeting Raw. And then, what was the other one also, too? I think it was NXT or something else?
I watched NXT. I watched Elevation.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're watching AEW, yeah. I was
I haven't watched Dark. I still can't do that to myself.
Yeah.
But for those of you that somehow joined this podcast like 20 minutes into it, did you not hear Joe's like life as a 1999 fucking WCW storyline? He's had a lot of free time because fucking the David Flair of his fucking relationship is somehow locked up in a loony bin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick, ask a question real quick about this match. Well, more so about Alexa Bliss. How do you guys feel about this angle she's doing now with the playground and all that? Do you guys like it?
So
I want to like it, but I'm like, I don't know.
A couple of things on my thoughts with this. Number one, I love that there's finally a female character that is doing some sort of like crazy occult, dark, like possessed storyline in WWE. Women in WWE and women and no, I'm not gonna say in wrestling in general, because you do have a lot of women in like Impact especially, and a couple of other places that have done the darker storyline stuff. In WWE, female wrestlers have always basically fallen into two categories. You're either a sex bomb, usually blonde, kind of look really good, or you're alternative. You're Rhea Ripley, you're Asuka, you got crazy colorful hair and whatever, and like you're doing your own crazy thing. You're not necessarily just selling sex the way your Mandy Rose and your Dana Brooke are and stuff like that. Those are the two kinds of women you get. You've never actually had a female character in WWE, in my opinion, who is a full-on character where there's something different going on. Like, there's never been a female version of The Undertaker or Kane or anything like that.
That's very true.
The closest we've ever come to it is this Alexa Bliss incarnation that we have right now. So in that regard, I'm here for it. I love that they're finally doing something different with a woman. It makes her even important. Like, look, how often on these pay-per-views in the last like year or so have we had any matches involving women that had nothing to do with any of the titles? This is a rarity where we actually have like just a women's storyline going on that's just for the sake of a storyline. And it works because the character makes it work. So in all of those ways, I'm here for it. I really enjoy it. I don't know how well it's going to translate once they're in front of a live studio audience again. I don't know that they're going to be able to make it work in front of arenas and stuff. Like, granted, they've done it with The Undertaker for 30 years.
I'm kind of mad you just gave us the old, like, Family Matters recorded in front of a live studio audience. I'm like, what? You really just
like,
dropped that
look,
on us?
They've obviously had The Undertaker for 30 years. They had Kane for like 20-something years. They've done stuff. They can do things in front of live audiences that make the character work. But the character so far hasn't had to be in front of live audiences. Like, other than that really big production at WrestleMania, which you're not going to do every week. You're not going to come out and do that big ordeal that they did at WrestleMania.
Wait, you don't like the big Jack in the Box? What the fuck?
I loved it. I loved it. I'm one of the few people that actually enjoyed that match.
Thanks.
Any chance Shayna Baszler wins this match, though?
I'm really glad that you're our friend. This is a friendship that will never, ever end. Let's go, Alexa.
I doubt that Alexa's going to lose, but, The Fiend never needs to win, so does Alexa actually need to win here? I don't know.
The only way that I don't see Alexa actually winning this match would be if it's something like a disqualification, or she just, like, beats Shayna, and then, like, something happens with Lily, and she just, like, zombie walks out of the ring.
Right.
Like, in, like, a trance, just, like, leaves, and Shayna just kind of, like, lays in the ring, and they're like, all right, I guess this is a count out.
Right.
Kind of thing. Like, I don't think Shayna's putting Alexa in the Karafuja clutch and winning. Like, let's put it that way. Like, it's got to be one of those where it's like, at least because this is the first real match that Alexa's really having on a big stage since the Jack in the Box at WrestleMania, where she kind of took over the Fiend role. And I think that's kind of why I think that this is one of those where it's like, I can see her doing exactly what the Fiend would do, which is like lay fucking people out and like just leave.
Yeah.
And you're just like, well, off you go. So I think it's one of those where, for the storyline perspective, I think Alexa needs to either be dominant or win this match.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, here we go. So, initially, before 9 o'clock this evening, Universal title on the line to Roman Reigns and Rey Mysterio in the cell, of course. However, we got word from WWE about 2 hours ago that they've now moved this match. They got Bray. Wow, I was so out of tune.
They got Britt Baker.
No. Who's
DMD.
This match got moved to tomorrow night. Well, by the time this is podcast, it'll be Friday Night SmackDown. Look, there's no fucking way Rey Mysterio's winning this match at all, whether it's on Friday or Sunday.
No.
But the extra shit around this is going to be much interesting.
So I'm curious. I'm curious here now. Wait. We know something's going to happen where this match or some match is going to end up happening on Sunday. We're not getting a Roman Reigns match on Sunday. I'm convinced of that. So my question to you guys is, are we going to end up just getting Ray still? Is it going to go? Are we pivoting? Is it going to be a match against one of the Usos? Where do we?
I have Roman and Jimmy maybe going.
Okay. See, here's my one thing. Do I think WWE could potentially have booked a Roman Reigns, Rey Mysterio Hell in a Cell match on Friday to sell a Roman Reigns and Rey Mysterio Hell in a Cell match on Sunday? Yes, I do. I think WWE is in a place right now where they seem to think that repeating the same match over and over and fucking over again is a really good selling point. Do you not remember when I was watching Raw on Monday for the first time in 2 months? I think I haven't watched Raw.
Asuka and Rhea.
Asuka and Rhea. You can't fucking get away from that match if you try. Nope. I haven't watched Raw in 2 months. The first Raw I watched for the first time, there's another fucking Asuka and Rhea match.
So we blame you.
It ended up being the best match that I've seen them have against each other. But why is this the fifth match that I've seen them have against each other since WrestleMania?
Because Joe. Because Joe.
Awful.
It's your fault.
I'm okay with that being my fault, but it's an awful thing. It's genuinely awful, and that's what I was saying. Say what you want about AEW, and this is just a point that I was making earlier in the group chat. I'm sorry to go off course. I will let Mike take over and explain his WrestleMania Backlash Hell in a Cell theory. But all I'm saying is that AEW, I will give them this credit. If you look at the card for Dynamite every single week, there's no repeat matches.
Nope.
They find a way to mix things up in a certain order where we get everything fresh and new. And you can't give me, AEW is a new company, blah, 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 as an excuse, because they've been around for over 2 years now, or at least 2 years now, with pretty much the exact same roster in place. It's not like there's actually been a lot of turnaround with AEW's roster. You've had people come in, but you haven't had a lot of people leave or anything like that. So at the end of the day, if AEW wanted to be giving us the same match 5 times in a month period, they really could. The fact that they don't do that and they give us fresh matchups every week, and look, at the end of the day, am I super excited that Penta and Frankie Kazarian and Eddie Kingston are taking on half of the Young Bucks and
50 Cent?
Yes, 50 Cent Buck. And who are the other 2 people on that team?
The Good Brothers.
Huh? Oh, and the Good Brothers, who never wrestle.
It's the Good Brothers, and then it's 3 dimes, 4 nickels, and a quarter or something.
Yes,
whatever.
Exactly. They're actually borrowing fucking T-Bar.
Then a trio match, then an 8-man tag, and they even done 6-man tags too, 4-man tags.
That's a 6-man tag match. Am I sitting here being like, oh my God, that's the most exciting sounding match of all time? I can't wait to see it. No, but I'm not sitting here being like, oh Jesus fucking Christ, why do I have to watch Cody Rhodes versus Anthony Ogogo 3 when I just watched them wrestle 2 weeks ago?
I will say this. If it leads to a 10-man tag match, that's the 2 Bucks, the Good Brothers, and Brandon Cutler versus Death Triangle, Eddie Kingston, and Frankie Kazarian. I'm blaming you, Ernest, for bringing up Brandon Cutler's name, you fuck.
Hey, I didn't book this shit.
I somehow found a way to put him on a team in my 16 teams that I programmed into our group chat.
I'm disappointed that he was very clearly the lesser Cutler, and he's the one we're stuck with.
Annoying as they may, I'm kind of sort of not as bothered by the Bucks. At least they're running with this tool thing fucking to the hilt.
All right. Time for me to tell you why Rey Mysterio is winning the title.
I'll get the fuck out. So over.
I mean, you guys challenged me to do this every month.
Okay.
Until Roman drops the belt.
Sell job, motherfucker.
Wrong.
Father's Day. Coming to the aid of his son. Rey Mysterio wins the world title. It writes itself.
What I should have said is, tell me Rey Mysterio's winning the title without telling me Rey Mysterio's winning the title.
So wait, first of all, to get there on Sunday, how are you dealing with Friday where they've announced the Hell in a Cell between Rey Mysterio and Roman Reigns? Second of all, what if the excuse is that Rey's wife was just like, nah, Sunday's Father's Day. Mira, you don't get to go have no wrestling match. You're going to be home. I'm making arroz con pollo. You're going to be home.
Oh, now I'm hungry.
We're going to have ourselves, Dominic going to be here. We're going to have ourselves a pate.
I'm hungry now.
I will do you one worse.
Oh, no.
Rey Mysterio will not obviously win the world title, because here's how I'm going to do you one worse. He will lose on Friday inside Hell of a Cell to Roman Reigns. We will then get Roman Reigns versus Dominic Mysterio for the Universal title at Hell in a Cell, inside Hell in a Cell, as the guy tries to fucking make up for his dad. Let's go. Let's go, terrible booking.
And if this was WCW booking, Dominic would win the match.
I know he would. He's the David Arquette of the fucking goddamn thing.
There's the Arquette move over there.
I will fucking do you one worse. You didn't think it could get worse? I found a way to get there.
You know what the sad thing is? The sad part is, from a storyline point of view, I don't hate that. Like as a story, telling it as a narrative, having the dad lose on Friday and then having the son go on Sunday and have the match and hopefully lose, I don't hate that. I only hate that Dominic Mysterio is the person that's in it.
That's Vince Russo really booking in there.
Like, if this was Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory as the father-son duo, I wouldn't hate this storyline at all. I'd be like, fuck yeah, Austin Theory, wrestle for the title on Sunday. But alas, it's Dominic Mysterio, who I think we've all collectively agreed is just not good. Like, he's
and
just
the crowd
not.
goes mild.
Yeah.
Okay, so what actually I really think is going to happen now that I got the Dominic Mysterio angle out of the way. Roman Reigns will win, obviously, on Friday. I believe that this leads to Usos trying to stop Roman from destroying Rey, because Dominic will not be there, selling the power bomb outside of the ring spot from last week. Well, give me Ain't No One's Bitch versus Big Match Usos. Give me brother versus brother inside Hell in the Cell.
I can see that.
And don't even have Roman wrestle at all?
Nope.
Wow.
This is your last show before you have to worry about Roman wrestling on every show.
Yeah. You're right.
So what do? You have him have a 10-minute match on Fox, which you get Fox the ratings that Fox wants. Keep them happy. Cool, whatever. You're going to get people that are going to watch because you still have Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre, which then gets the main event because that's the final match of that feud, hopefully. So you give them the spotlight to end the show. Because here's the deal. You're not finishing with that match if Roman Reigns is on the show.
True.
He is the Hogan must pose of the 2020 era. Like, if Roman Reigns is on the show and Roman Reigns is in a match, that match is closing the show 90% of the time.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, the 10% that you may not is, like, if it's a 2-night WrestleMania, or if, like, randomly you get, like, John Cena versus, like, somebody random that isn't fucking Roman.
Right.
Like, that's probably it at this point. I mean, even unless you have, like, something crazy happen, like where in January somebody wins the Royal Rumble that's a complete surprise and you close with the show that way. Cool. Like, it's going to be something fluky like that. Like, you're not finishing with Roman in front of a live audience unless something big is going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, oh, the month after this first live show is Money in the Bank. Oh, okay, so say Edge shows up, wins Money in the Bank. You may not finish a show in October or December, like TLC, because Edge may cash in Money in the Bank. Like, Roman may not finish that show because of a moment. Like, that makes sense. You're like, oh, okay, Roman isn't finishing. Maybe something's happening. I have to keep watching. I can't now not watch it anymore because. So it's like when it comes to Roman, it's like, man, I got to see Roman wrestle. I love this heel character. I think I love what he's doing. This, that, or the other. Like, you have to keep people on the hook for as long as you can. How do you do it? By having him going on last. And if he doesn't go on last, damn, the best act in the company right now just had a match like an hour into the show. What the fuck's going to happen next? I can't fucking not watch anymore.
Right.
So it's like he's become the Swiss Army knife in that aspect of
Right.
he's got to be the guy that closes the show, unless he's not on the show. And then
Right.
you give the ability to Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre to go out there and finish that thing, hopefully once and for all. And it's not because I think those guys are not good together. They've had really good matches. They just had so many of them that we need something fresh in that title picture. No discredit to either one of those two guys, because those two guys have worked their asses off. I don't want to sit here and discredit what they've done. But it's time for one of them to move on to another feud, and one of them to move on with the title and keep going. Which way they decide to go with that, we'll talk about shortly. But that match I think that match, if this is the final chapter, has to finish the show.
Yeah.
So how do you do it? You get Roman out of there. You have him kill fucking Ray on Friday. Beat him in 10 or 15 minutes. Fuck, real easy. Post match, you get Uce versus Uce, and then we get Jimmy versus Jay. If Jay wins, Jimmy's got to fall in line and acknowledge Roman. If not, maybe Jimmy gets Jay's freedom and Jay gets to pick what Jay wants to do.
You could put that on as the opening match on the show too.
Yeah,
Like,
you could.
I want to sell usually anyway.
In fact, I probably would guess that if that scenario would play out, that would be the first match.
I mean, at this point, I think it's the only match because you're not really going to go chamber, or I mean, cell. You're not going to go.
No.
Oh, okay, cell, and you're going to lift it and have one random like 8-minute match and then put it back down either. Like,
right.
Open it, have a match, have them go, and then close it, and then we'll see in a couple hours.
Right.
Kind of thing. So.
Alrighty.
That's just my personal opinion.
All right, we got the Raw Women's Championship between Rhea Ripley, a champion, and Charlotte Flair. Now, a lot of talk about Rhea Ripley's title reign thus far. Not very exciting, kind of.
Well, it's because nothing's very exciting at the moment on Raw.
The Asuka thing. Yeah, I'm with you. So my train of thought here is this. If they take the belt off Rhea right now, I feel like that shows lack of confidence in her. But there is value in a chase as well. So I don't know what to go here. I feel like if Rhea wins this match, I'm going to pick Rhea here because I think it will give her more credibility moving forward by beating Charlotte Flair, the 13-time champion. That's where I'm at in this whole thing.
Yeah, I think Rhea's going to win. I honestly just don't see them doing anything radical between now and a month from now when they're back in front of live audiences. Like, there's a bit to the theory that they're probably going soft and coasting right now through storylines and everything. It's probably one of the reasons why we do get so many repeat matches and stuff. And it makes me very interested to see what the shows are going to be like once we're in front of live crowds again. Like, I actually am looking forward to tuning into Raw when they're in front of a live audience again for the first time, because I'm curious to see if there's merit there and if they've been taking it easy and, like I said, coasting for the last few months, or if they really are just at a point where this is just the best that they can do and it's shit. You know, it's one or the other, and I think we're going to find out very shortly which one it is. And it's gonna be really telling if like they're back in front of a live crowd and all of a sudden Raw is the fucking best that it's been in years. That's going to be very telling for like how they were working through the pandemic and what they were giving us, you know. But that said, I do think at the very least in this last month or so before you're back in front of live crowds, you're definitely kind of coasting your way through. So I don't see them making a big change. I don't see them putting the title on Charlotte right now. I see them, if that's going to happen, that's happening at like SummerSlam or something like that. So I think here Rhea probably holds on to the belt.
Okay. Mike?
This sucks.
The Mandy match was good last year.
Yeah. So what do you need to do? You know, put fucking fried rice in a pan and hope to God it sticks? I mean, this is awful. This booking is terrible. This fucking way we've gotten here is even worse. Obviously, I'm going to take Rhea to win because I think she gets redemption for WrestleMania. But I mean, I haven't watched Raw, and Joe, you did. Have they did they mention that they wrestled at WrestleMania in any of the promos or anything? Like, have we
Not
heard?
recently, no.
Wow,
most
you guys
of
are
this,
morons.
most of their feud that I can tell in the last month has been based around them both losing matches to Nikki Cross.
Yeah.
Like that's actually literally been the Charlotte and Rhea feud. Frankly, I don't get why Nikki Cross isn't here in some capacity. Like, give me her as like the special guest referee.
Am I wrong?
Whoa. Like, can I just say for a second, now thinking about it, we haven't had a special guest referee in a match in a fucking long ass time.
I agree.
In WWE. Like, I maybe in a Roman Reigns match, I feel like there might have been like an Uso as special referee, which makes sense because Paul Heyman basically is in charge of all that stuff. And I guess, I don't know, it's very like 90s, but like that used to be a really good like story development user, whatever you want to say, you know, like why isn't Nikki Cross here as a special guest referee or something like that? Like make it consistent. That's all.
Am I wrong for thinking this match is a bit too soon? Maybe a little too soon by month?
I mean,
I
only in the sense of that they haven't built a good storyline for it. Like that's the only reason. But like they could have built a good storyline in the last month and it'd be fine timing. They just didn't because they suck.
I mean, I really genuinely feel though that like they were trying to build that this match was going to happen before Rhea won the title at WrestleMania.
True.
So it's one of those things where it's like I don't think it's too early. I just think it's that if they would have started this build later, like if they would have waited until after WrestleMania, like we'd be in a spot like okay, they could have their first match now. Maybe Charlotte's involved in Money in the Bank, so they don't have a match at Money in the Bank, and then like they have the blow off at SummerSlam where it's like the final challenge kind of thing. Like okay, cool. They kind of pinpointed that Asuka was going to lose the belt and that we were going to get Rhea and Charlotte like a month and a half before we got the end of the fucking Rhea fucking Asuka feud.
Yeah.
But the real issue here is that aside from Nikki Cross, I don't know if there's another woman on the Raw roster that like you can be like, oh okay, Rhea can wrestle her for the title.
Yeah, you're right.
Like I don't know that
very weak right now.
Like who do you feed her to? Exactly. Yeah. Because Asuka was used up already, so Charlotte's the only other one.
And the only other people on Raw right now that are involved in anything are Shayna Baszler,
and Nia Jax, right?
Alexa Bliss. Bliss. So it's one of those things where you give her Nia. Not really. You want to feed her Mandy or fucking Dana Brooke? I mean, if you want a 2-star match that you're gonna go, why the fuck is this on my television? Sure, why not? You know, and there really isn't many other options viable right now. I mean, personally, perfect chance. Bring up fucking like Mercedes Martinez.
I mean,
up
hindsight's 2020.
Where? Better yet, before we move on, where the fuck is Mia Yim?
Hanging out with Keith Lee.
Like, let her fucking wrestle. Or is she not cleared too? Like, what are we doing?
What's the SmackDown?
No, she's on Raw.
She's Raw? Okay. Oh,
no,
Retribution. Retribution.
She was in Retribution, but then she left. And then they were just going to bring her back as Mia Yim. And they were like, oh, she's going to be on SmackDown. And then they haven't brought her back. Like, what are we doing?
Oh,
that's why. Well,
here's a perfect chance to go use someone. And maybe you don't feed her to Rhea. But here's a chance to go have a good 12-minute match. Rhea gets a win against a good in-ring opponent. Looks good in the process. And guess what? Her title run doesn't look like it's a big-ass waste of time.
Right.
This is why I wanted them to break up Nia and Shayna. Because I would have said feed her to Shayna for a few months and then to...
I mean, here's the reality of the situation. The dumbest thing they could have done was let go all the fucking people they've let go. Because how the fuck are they going to keep the fucking tag titles relevant? But I digress.
Yeah. Why have it?
You know, the funny thing is, of all the things, like in the first hour of Raw that I watched this past week, the most entertaining segment, and it was genuinely entertaining. Like, it wasn't just because the bar was low. It's like it actually got me interested.
We are the bar.
Right. it actually got me interested in the storyline and the feud and the wrestlers involved in the segment. Was a segment involving Natty and Tamina and Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. It was
So
a
I wonder if
well
they're
done.
going to be the kickoff show.
Yeah, right. It was a well done little segment. Like, I think it was all of probably about 2 minutes long. It was them at the performance center practicing, and the other girls come in and are just like, "Oh my God, y'all suck!" And they were just like, "We'll get in the ring and we'll show you how much we suck." And then they got in the ring and they brawled a little bit until the referees broke them apart. That's how you sell a match. That made me actually look forward to seeing those two teams have a match maybe next week on Raw, because of course it's not going to be on the pay-per-view. Why would we put it on the pay-per-view? Why would we actually build to stuff?
Because we're stupid.
Right.
Dumb booking. Next
By the
match.
way, speaking of dumb booking and Monday Night Raw, one of the things that annoyed me the most was the fact that during that first hour, we had the quite literal epitome of 50-50 booking at its finest when Jeff Hardy lost a match to John Morrison and then was challenged to another match by Cedric Alexander, which Jeff Hardy then won. With his career on the line.
I was gonna say, and if he lost, his career was over.
But like, you literally had Jeff Hardy lose a match and then win a match. So Jeff Hardy is just kind of flat and there. He didn't go down.
He loves that for you.
Right.
Jeff Hardy, he loves that for you.
He was just there. And then on top of that, like,
so he Savio Vega that segment?
Basically. And John Morrison doesn't look any better. And Cedric Alexander actually does look worse. Like, all you got out of these two segments was Cedric Alexander looking like shit. And I don't know why that was necessary. That was just bad booking to me.
Hot garbage.
All right. Next one. SmackDown Women's Championship on the line between Bianca Belair, the champion, versus Bayley. Look for this one, actually. I will say, that stay, yeah. It's getting late. This feud feel like it's stalled a little bit, just a bit, and I feel like now with being in a cell, that maybe this is the blow off, and then they go separate ways. I don't know who you feud Bianca to next. Between now and SummerSlam, I mean, you can go back to Sasha again, maybe.
The man. Give her the man.
I will say, though, Bayley's amazing.
Oh, yeah, no, I really like Bayley.
Incredible.
And they had a good match at the last pay-per-view.
Oh, so yeah.
I'm excited for the match itself.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really watched SmackDown, so I can't say anything about the storyline. Other than it is kind of just there. And like you said, I don't know who else. You know, like, maybe the next one, if you want to get a couple of quick 2 months out of it before you're back in front of a live crowd, maybe give her Carmella or somebody like that.
Yeah,
that's
some filler. Yeah.
She's a former champion.
Give her Liv.
Okay.
I mean, they ain't got anything else for her to do.
I mean, you got 2 months to fill between now and SummerSlam, so
watch her live.
I mean, Bianca's win this match, obviously, but I will say Bayley's done a great job of being the nice, heel, and the build to this thing has been pretty good too, with the whole screens and her laughing and all this shit. Her character's really developed well in this last year and a half, 2 years since turning heel.
I'll take the EST of PhD of LLC of MLA and all that other fun shit that she is.
Are Cesaro and Seth Rollins not fighting on this show?
I think that's gonna get added tomorrow.
Okay.
I think that's gonna get added. I don't
because
think
that feels really out of place.
It does.
On this card somewhere.
The only way it doesn't work, the only way that it would work if they don't, is if they're saying Cesaro can't get medically cleared because of the shoulder damage from Rollins' attack, which then leads to them having like a pull apart brawl on the show. And then you move into it like them both being in Money in the Bank to them having a SummerSlam match or something like that. Like, that makes sense if that's the route that we're going. But you have to give me that Cesaro isn't medically cleared. Like, you can't just be like,
and that's letting it breathe. And that's letting it breathe. Week by week.
That would be a greatly booked story. I would actually be very excited for all of that.
Yeah,
that's really good use. By the way, when did Seth Rollins' gimmick become Daft Punk?
Probably after WrestleMania, right?
Shortly after the birth of his child.
I don't know how to feel about that, but okay.
He stayed up all night to get lucky. He got lucky. He got a kid out of it, though. I mean, it's what he does.
His luck ran out, is what you're saying.
You talk about the drip, Seth Rollins drip. What do we call it?
It's something.
You don't like it?
I mean, I love his suit game, but he drip too much inside the man, and now he has a child. So I mean, he may need to lay off the drip. That's all I'm saying.
It's a lot of look.
Yeah.
I watch RuPaul's Drag Race, and there's some queens on there that don't have as much look as what Seth Rollins comes out with every week.
All right, and finally,
I'm looking at you, Elliot, with 2 T's.
2 T's, what? God damn.
And finally, WWE Championship on the line between Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. This is being billed as McIntyre's last opportunity to get the title.
It's Drew versus Bobby.
I'm a little tired of this feud. I mean, I like the feud. Obviously, we've seen it in Mania. We've seen it, obviously, at WrestleMania Backlash, and they even wrestled, I think, on Raw once between now and then. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I'm worried they're going to put the title back on Drew. I hope not.
They're not.
I want them to stay the course.
They are.
I think you talk about, holding the title. I think Drew's to the point now where we know Drew could be a good champion. I think there's a lot of value now moving forward in having Drew chase for next year.
Well, he can't chase if he can't fucking fight for the title anymore if he loses this match.
Unless you send them over to SmackDown or you have
them redraft.
So you're gonna feed him to fucking Roman?
Not right now.
No, but
I did tell you though that I did say though
Roman.
I did say though, and I was on this show on my podcast that he could be the guy to beat Roman next year in Mania. Well, I listed out.
Don't put him on fucking SmackDown now then, because you got 5 months. They'll find a way to fucking blow this thing. That's what they do. Have you not fucking met WWE booking before? Hello, my name is Lava Lamp. Look at me. That's what they fucking do.
There is a rumor. There was a rumor going around though that they may do the draft much earlier this year.
They have to. They have like 13 people on their active roster. What the fuck are we doing? They cut half the roster.
How long have they been doing October drafts? The last 10 years? How long? No? Okay. That's curious.
They've done drafts for the last 10 years.
No, in October, I'm saying. No.
Wrong with you?
No, in October, I'm saying is the question.
No, they switch it up whenever they want. Sometimes
it's
SummerSlam, sometimes it's been after WrestleMania.
3 years ago, it was like a week after WrestleMania.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
There it is.
They can do it whenever they want. And it actually, honestly, really wouldn't surprise me if they do it like around the time that they start touring again, like maybe in about a month after Money
I've heard that it's definitely. I've heard rumors about August being a draft, probably after SummerSlam.
I can see them doing it right before SummerSlam. Like,
yeah, I can too.
You come out of Money in the Bank and you're like, the draft is August 1st. SummerSlam is August 22nd.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Because they're really good at being like, oh yeah, we're gonna build up SummerSlam. Sheamus is gonna take on if Jeff Hardy loses, he has to retire. If he wins, he gets the title. Breaking news: Jeff Hardy just got drafted to SmackDown.
Right.
I only asked that question because I
could totally see it.
I only asked the question because ever since I've been watching, it's been October every time. So that's what I was asking.
Well, no, it's just, they're very good at being like, you know what, we need to move some people around. Let's do it after we've already started the build of the show.
Right.
So it's like, you know what, Jeff Hardy, if you lose this match, you have to leave Raw. Okay, Jeff Hardy got drafted to SmackDown. What happens if he wins? The U.S. title with him? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here, guys? Doesn't make any sense.
That said, I think Lashley retains.
Yeah, I don't see any scenario where he doesn't retain.
I will say the threat of Drew winning though is definitely makes it intriguing.
I think that was more of a threat before he lost like 5 times to Lashley already. This has been a storyline that probably should have like played out over the next 6 or 8 months. That played out over 6 or 8 weeks, and that's the most painful part of all of it to me. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, like, do I think they could have a really good Hell in a Cell match? Yeah, totally.
And they will, I think.
Right. I have no questions about that. I have full trust in the talent involved and in the kind of match that it is. I think they're going to put on a spectacle, and I'm excited from that aspect. But storyline wise, I like you said, like I'm over it. I'm genuinely over their feud and
I'm
seeing.
curious though, who'd you feed Bobby to next?
Who would you feed next to Bobby? Not who would you feed
Yes.
Bobby
Sorry,
to next?
right.
I really don't know offhand. I honestly, I'd have to actually like look over the Raw roster because like nobody necessarily occurs to me. You know, you have Orton doing RK Bro thing,
They do a Kofi.
which by the way, the other like real highlight of watching Raw this past week, the best match I've seen on a wrestling show on TV this week, and as we've established, I watched a bunch and I might even watch more tomorrow. We just don't know. Was hands down the New Day versus RK Bro on this past week's Raw. Like, I'm imploring both of you, if you watch nothing else from Raw this week, it was about, I think it was like at the end of the first hour or so, watch that match. See if it's on YouTube, if you can just find the match itself like that, if WWE's posted it like that, or go to your whatever Hulu, whatever recording. I promise you, they did not cut this match out. It is a fantastic
I
match, like
did start it today.
excellent match.
Yeah, I did start it. I didn't finish it.
Yeah, no. I have 4 rainbow flags. It was a fantastic match. But yeah, no. So like, obviously, Orton's not someone that you're gonna do it with. Riddle's not someone that you're gonna throw to Lashley. I don't know actually who you put in there because Raw seems to kind of have like who.
It's
What
very,
you have
it's
obvious.
yes, it's very simple.
Who?
Kofi?
Kofi and Xavier.
Ugh.
Well, they already teased it already with MVP. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, as much as you go, ugh, that's who he fights at Money in the Bank, and they're not involved in the Money in the Bank match. Like, okay, fine. At the end of the day, no, he's not fighting Kofi Kingston or Xavier Woods at SummerSlam. Obviously.
Right.
Brock. No.
I wouldn't put it fucking past them. I mean, hell, one of the fucking pre-sale codes for SummerSlam was Bella Army. We may get the Bellas winning the fucking women's tag titles.
Yeah.
Don't hold your breath.
They'll come back actually.
Is that real?
Yeah, it's real.
I mean, let's look at it.
Rumors are real.
Let's look at it from this perspective. Aleister Black, Braun Strowman, Riot, Andrade, and we bring back the fucking Bellas and Brock Lesnar.
I mean,
what the fuck are we doing?
Well, Brock, I mean, like I know how you guys feel about Brock, obviously, but you know.
You mean Brock Lesnar, the Swedish chef's cousin?
You know what the funny thing is? If you look at math and time and math, and look, I don't know what to tell you. But like this is not nicotine. So like you look at like the timeline and the universe and all the places it's meant to go, right?
Right.
WWE has always liked going back to legends and to people who are already established stars and bringing them in a little bit past their prime and making a run with them. And you know, like this is like in 2009, 2010 when all of a sudden Kevin Nash was back, or like stuff like that. So is it surprising that all of a sudden we might get the Bellas back? No, they're basically Kevin Nash circa 2010. You know, like we're about there in the timeline for where the Bellas making a comeback makes sense. Like we don't want it, but like
does that mean Brian's coming back too then?
I would hope so. If we get Brian,
maybe Bobby gets Edge next.
Oh,
Battle of the Spears.
I can see it.
I saw something about.
Here's the thing: if you're gonna give Bobby the win, which I'm predicting Bobby wins,
yeah,
let's just be transparent with that. He's your second biggest draw as your second world champion. Obviously, Roman number 1 with a bullet, doesn't matter. You've got to fill 88,000 seats for SummerSlam.
Yeah.
you're going to have to bring in some heavy artillery. You have to bring in your Brock Lesnar's, your Bellas, your Edges, your Bryans, stuff like that. Like, you're going to have to do that. Like, fine. But is this where we go full heavy artillery, or is this where we're like, we maybe not give him John Cena? Do we not give him, The Rock against Roman? And we just try to do it with them. I think like they have to go heavy artillery because A, they're going up against fucking Manny Pacquiao, but B, it's fucking 88,000 seats together.
And they are treating this like a fucking WrestleMania. We've heard that for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So I think Edge makes the most sense for Bobby next.
Possibly.
Because it gives him that certified challenger. Like, it's someone that is going to get a good match out of Bob.
Because also, too, at the end of the day, Bobby needs a big win in his title reign right now. Like,
not named Drew McIntyre, of course.
Right. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not been a good title reign, but it's kind of been uneventful. And at the end of the day, the only person he's beaten, like you said, is Drew McIntyre. He's beaten The Miz and he's beaten Drew McIntyre. Two huge names. And I'm not taking anything away from them as the people he's beaten, but who's next? Like if he lost the title at this point to Drew or lost it to the next person he defends it against, we're not going to look back at it and be like, wow, that was one hell of a title reign. We might be like, it wasn't bad, but we're not going to be like, oh, wow, that was incredible. You need to get him a couple of wins against some bigger names. Like maybe he needs a quick like AJ Styles victory. Maybe he needs like a Kofi Kingston victory. Maybe he needs like, an Edge victory. You do need some people to play out with there so that it comes across as more prestigious.
You said who's next. The first person that came to mind was
God damn you, don't you dare.
I know. Trust me.
I'm with not will it into existence.
We're on the same page now.
Murder you.
Yeah.
You've already caused Brandon Cutler.
We do realize though we do realize though when you say heavy artillery, in Vince's head, that name has crossed his fucking forehead quite a few times already. Goldberg.
I don't understand.
I hope not.
On list of heavy artillery, when I think of what Vince McMahon's thinking of, Cena, Rock, Brock, and then like the Bella Twins or like Trish Stratus. Like that's the heavy artillery that I think like Vince would realistically think of at this point. Because Goldberg was so bad in that match that it's just like
against McIntyre?
I don't think that we can really do this.
I promise you that somewhere right now as well, Mark Gallo, what the fuck's his last name? Mark Callis.
Mark Calloway?
Yes.
Mark Calloway.
Is holding his cell phone and the name Vince McMahon is popping up on it on the call ID, and he's looking over at Michelle McCool and being like, fucking shit. Will you just answer this? Tell him I'm not allowed. Just tell him no. Tell him I'm punished or something. Tell him I'm out of the country and unreachable.
I can see making an appearance maybe, but that's about it.
I think if he's coming in, he's coming in guns blazing. He ain't coming in fucking to walk down there with the fucking.
But you know that he's like Vince's go-to. I need something, Which again, it's one of the reasons why I say like it's interesting because now we're gonna start to see who the new go-tos are for those things. Because like the Undertaker is gone.
That's a topic in itself, Joe.
What
go-to? That's a topic in itself.
Brain's moving here. Heavy artillery that could fill up that arena. Bring back Bray.
Let's save this for next week then. For this topic, because this can go fucking detail. Who? Oh, let him in. Yeah.
Let him in.
No, I'm with you.
He might not be ready to come back. That's
He's not hurt, is he? He's not hurt. Just taking a break, right?
Give me a mixed tag match between Alexa Bliss and Bray Wyatt as the Fiend and Sister Abigail versus
Dusty and Sapphire.
Whoever.
Joking. Dusty and Sapphire.
Okay.
American Dream. Okay, that's a Hell in a Cell.
That was the worst. That was the worst American Dream fucking come into his song ever. By the way, it was awful.
Oh man.
America.
All right. You've got
All
me
right,
for
go.
30 more minutes, so we better start talking about these
All right,
topics.
Joe, your topic's next.
Oh, shit. I wasn't prepared for that. Okay.
Get wrecked, fool.
All right. Well, we'll make it easy, right? So
Let's
Hell
go.
in a Cell is this Sunday. There's two of them fools on the show. And it turns out there's been a lot of Hell in a Cell matches over the years. There's been at least one every year since 1997. A lot of years there's been like two or so. I think there's been, I sent out that list to you guys, and I think there's been something like 50 something Hell in a Cell matches overall in WWE history. Here's the crazy thing. My question to you guys, and we'll bring it up as a topic here, was your top 5 favorite Hell in a Cell matches. To me, I think the craziest part about it is looking over that list of like the 50 something Hell in a Cell matches that have actually happened. It was actually really easy coming up with a top 5 favorite, because a lot of them just do not stand out. A lot of them are not particularly memorable. A lot of them just, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but given how many of these matches have actually happened, I'm a little surprised that the cream of the crop rises as easily as it does. At least for me personally. You guys might disagree, but you guys can go first. Give me your top 5s.
All right,
Ernest, you go first because
Yeah.
I'm still trying to incorporate my list.
No problem. I have my list here too. So
Good.
I didn't actually write the list for the record.
Okay, so I remember a couple weeks ago when you had said you're going to do this topic.
Yes.
And I told you, feed me some matches I've missed in the last 15 years I may have not watched.
Yes.
So I watched a couple of those matches in the last couple of weeks. Just kind of get.
You were like, smack it, daddy, smack it.
Yeah, smack it, baby.
Wow.
No, because there's a lot. Because you have the obvious ones, and some of the obvious ones are on my list, obviously.
Yeah.
But I wanted some that were good, but maybe they still stand out legendary as the others. So here's my top 5. Number 5, I got Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch from 2019.
Okay.
That was a really good one. That was Sasha's return after being away for a couple months after Mania. Number 4, of course, the infamous or famous, depending on your perspective, of course, Mankind and Undertaker from 1998. I mean, it wasn't a great match, obviously, but
it's a spectacle.
It's a spectacle. Yeah. The bumps are the bumps.
It's a car crash.
It's a car crash, dude. The
And
whole way through.
It's gonna forever be famous. Like it's probably one of the more noteworthy, and that's not the right word. What's the word? Like infamous.
Infamous, famous, depending on your perspective.
History.
Yeah. I mean, that fucking drop from the top of the cages to this day is still like, how the fuck he survived that shit?
Yeah.
Number 3, from 2017, the Usos and the New Day. First time watched it a couple weeks ago. Really enjoyed that match. Told a great story, the whole 9. Of course, the Usos won that match, won the titles that night. Number 2, hold on a second, my phone is, there we go. She's here again, Sasha Banks, once again for the second time on my list, and Bayley from last year.
Yeah.
That was arguably match of the year last year for me. I think they made my top. Yeah, that was my top 3 matches last year. I think I watched. And number 1, this is easy. If you in my notes, this is the easy number 1 for me. It's arguably my favorite match of all time. Period. It's the first one, Hell in a Cell, between Taker and HBK. The debut of Kane. The match itself was fresh and new. I fucking love that. That was the match that made me a Shawn Michaels hardcore fan.
Okay.
Hardcore. Like, yeah, he's pretty boy, this and that, but this motherfucker can take bumps too. And yeah, and what?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so wait, I'm curious. I love when someone says like this is their favorite of something.
Yeah.
Why? Like, what makes that out of all of the wrestling matches you've ever watched in your life? What makes that the perfect wrestling match for you?
The story was fantastic.
Okay.
First off, you have interlooping stories going on here.
Yeah.
Like, Kane debuts that night, but we're supposed to forget about the Kane angle because they had mentioned Kane in months at this point. After Paul Bearer has said Kane's alive. This is back in June.
Yes.
Okay. So we're supposed to know about Kane, but then we forget about Kane. Taker's champion. He was the title of Brett in SummerSlam. You probably still know the Kane thing, but no one's talking about it. Then this feud, of course, is fantastic. Taker and Shawn Michaels feud is my favorite feud probably all time.
Oh wow.
I'm talking about the first one, the first installment. Not the one.
Yeah.
I just loved it. And then all of a sudden, Kane comes in the ring, and what the fuck, But the match itself told a fantastic story. And remember, this is the first Hell in a Cell. This is all. I'm used to the blue fucking cage matches.
Right.
We just had a blue cage match 2 months before that at SummerSlam. Between Brett and Taker.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, not Brett. I'm sorry. Triple H and and Mankind. Sorry.
That one.
Yeah.
I give Hell in a Cell credit. Whoever came up with the concept of it or whatever, it was the most revolutionary thing that they've done with cage matches and like gimmick matches in general in a very long time when they came up with it. Because you could tell,
probably since War Games.
Yeah,
yes.
But that's the thing, right? You could tell that there's always been an idea in pro wrestling since the beginnings of the territories and stuff of how can we do bigger? And when it came to cage matches, 9 times out of 10, the idea of doing bigger for a long time was building up. And I'm only saying this because I just got, like I said, I've been watching Great American Bash from 1988, where they have the Tower of Doom match with the 3 cages on top of each other.
Yes.
It's the most awful looking thing. But for a long time, that was the thought that you had to go in for a direction to make a cage match bigger. And then like Mike said, you had War Games where it was 2 rings. But, that's not always the most, reasonable thing.
One thing is clear, though, Joe. One thing is clear. Not everybody can do this match. Not everybody can do it. If you're Shawn Michaels, if you're Undertaker, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, these matches are made for certain people that can translate a story.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, and as we've seen, obviously, who would have thought that this wouldn't be this best match? This is probably the 3rd best match they've done of all time, of many they've done. Because obviously the shit they did in Mania 25 and 26, I mean, you have to say that probably, though it's not my personal favorite match, it's definitely arguably the greatest match of all time.
No, I mean, I take this match over those matches too, personally. I'm with you. I think that the original Hell in a Cell match with HBK and Kane and Undertaker is probably easily in the top 5, greatest matches in WWE history.
Right.
Probably, arguably in the top 2 or 3. Honestly, just everything about that match is fantastic. It is a 5-star match, no questions asked.
Yeah, to me, it's on a level of Steamboat and Savage. I look at who's your favorite match of all time? It's HBK and Taker, Savage and Steamboat, and then maybe a couple more in there.
And I don't disagree with you on any of that. And as an aside, I realized earlier today while I was walking the dog, just randomly hit me. Of course I'm gay. I grew up where my favorite wrestler was a man who literally shook his ass around and was like, I'm a sexy boy. So, I mean, this is wrestling turned me gay, if we're being clear. Okay. Right. Anyway, moving on. So.
Good Mike's face.
Mike, you want to hit me with your list?
Yeah, sure, because I'm going to do something completely different.
Oh.
I do not have the first Hell in a Cell list in my top 5.
Okay.
So, at number 5, from last year's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, give me the I Quit match for the Universal title between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso.
Okay.
Ooh.
The storytelling in this match was absolutely a game changer.
Yes.
I agree.
And I think that is something that inside Hell in a Cell is something that sometimes isn't done. Most of the time, Hell in a Cell was to finish off a feud. There wasn't storytelling in that match. It was just, I'm going to kick this guy's ass, this guy's going to kick my ass, and we're going to be done with it at the end of it.
Yes.
So the unfolding of the next layer of the Roman Reigns heel turn in this puts that on my list. Number 4, from the same pay-per-view, the Sasha Banks versus Bayley one.
Yeah.
Arguably the best women's match of the year last year, if not a top 5 match of the year contender for all of WWE. I think those two are the 2 slam dunks from the early one. Now things are going to get a little interesting. And, obviously at number 3, I have the tag match from Hell in a Cell 2017 between the New Day and the Usos. These two teams beat the absolute fuck out of each other. And it was great. And I loved every minute of it. I think they had a great match. I think that those were the perfect teams to put in the chamber match against each other. And I think it just worked perfectly. And I'm a very big advocate that if they want to do that again sometime, that I will pay oodles of money to see them do that inside of a Hell in a Cell. This one is going to be an interesting input, and I know that this one might be the one where you guys are like, "What the fuck are you doing, Mike?" Hell in a Cell 2014. This match only went 14 minutes, but it was a fun 14 minutes. Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose.
Ooh.
I genuinely only vaguely remember that match. I was looking over the list of all the Hell in a Cell matches, and I was like, I think I remember that being a really good match, but I don't actually full on remember it. I bet if I went back and watched it, I'd be like, oh yeah, this was awesome. But
I enjoyed it, but it was almost like it was just a quick sprint because they were in and then it was done. Like it was 14 minutes, they were out. No titles were on the line. These guys just went at it. And,
right. Never saw it. I watch it probably tomorrow.
I remember their match at I think SummerSlam that year more, where it was like a lumberjack match or something like that.
Do I have one left or do I have two left? Because I may have fucked my numbers up here.
You went.
No, I have one left and I fucked my numbers up. I think that's what I'm saying. This one, and I will probably get booed out of the building for this one, and that's okay because it's what I do. My favorite Hell in a Cell match took place in the year 2002.
Oh, I was gonna say the other one.
Between the next big thing, Brock Lesnar, and The Undertaker.
What's wrong with it? Why you get booed out of that?
There's a lot of people that didn't like that match.
Really?
Okay.
Because of the whole fucking Undertaker with the cast and all that bullshit, and it just played into a whole nother fucking role of the match. There's a lot of people that didn't like this match. I loved this match. I thought this match was awesome. The fact that the philosophy of Brock, trying to beat Undertaker, and then when he couldn't, he then started to attack the hand and taking out the cast so that he could get to the broken hand of the Undertaker and things like that, knowing that he had to do whatever he had to retain his title. I just love that match. Those two guys worked so well together here. And I mean, honestly, it probably was a precursor to Taker being okay with letting Brock end the streak. Because it's these guys had great matches in 2002 together.
Yeah.
In 2003. So it's I can see this being a precursor where they're oh man, let's see where we go from here.
Yeah.
And then an honor I have two honorable mentions. First off, the 2000 No Way Out show where Triple H defeated Cactus Jack, where if he lost, he had to retire. That one may be my favorite Mick Foley Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah.
The one against Undertaker is a car crash. That's not a match. That is a Young Buck spot fest. It is a fucking car crash, and it's
I would even argue, and this might be a hot take. This might be the one that gets me booed out of the building. Which, by the way, crime. You can't actually do that. I would say that Hell in a Cell match being basically the second ever Hell in a Cell match. I know there was technically, I think, one or two in between.
No, I don't think so.
No, yeah, there was one on Raw at the very least.
Oh, wait, yes. Was that the one with the New Age Outlaws?
No, it was.
I have the list up right now. It was Michaels versus Taker at the first one.
Right.
The second one was Stone Cold and The Undertaker against Mankind and Kane on a Raw. The third one was the 1998 car crash between The Undertaker and Mankind.
Okay.
Then there was a singles match between Kane and The Undertaker, Kane and Mankind. Then we had that really bad one at WrestleMania between Undertaker and the Big Boss Man.
That was a terrible fucking match, dude.
And then
that was the match where we discovered that Boss Man was well hung, though.
Yeah.
So okay, So here's what I'm saying, though. Having that match as the third ever time that you did that gimmick, it's like they killed the town. I feel like it's again, it's a fantastic what it is. It is what it is. It's memorable. It's something that if you've never seen it, you should go watch it. It definitely deserves its place in history. I'm not talking down on it in any capacity. But what could you fucking do with this gimmick after that match? Like, honestly, they
here's the thing.
did everything. And ever since then, every Hell in a Cell match has basically been trying to live up to that while also not doing that because we almost watched the man fucking die
But you
when they
can't,
did
though.
that.
That's what I'm saying. Is it?
Well, here's the
So,
thing.
like,
To most people,
yeah,
the 1998 car crash at King of the Ring was them trying to upstage the first one.
right.
So you're trying to upstage and upstaging. It's kind of hard to do. But me personally, I feel Hell in the Cell lost a lot of its lust that first one. Because that whole thing when it was being talked about was that can't get out, nobody can get in.
Right.
Once you're there, you're going for a ride with who you're against. In that first one, we had DX break in and Kane rip the fucking door off.
Right.
How the fuck are you building it as being indestructible in the first one?
Wait, didn't door open because Shawn Michaels hit the cameraman? They came in to take the cameraman out, and the door was open,
and then DX fucking punched the referee and got in the cage. What I'm getting at is,
did they though? I don't remember them getting in the cage.
I think China got in and threw Shawn the title.
I get what you're saying though, but like you've said it, like not that that's not really great storytelling because it is, but you've now set up parameters where it's like, okay, why shouldn't this happen every single time there's a Hell in a Cell match?
Exactly. If you're part of a heel group, at what point don't you just say, "Hey, punch the fucking cameraman so we can get into the cell"?
Right.
What?
Like the truth of the matter is, and maybe it's because they use it as often as they use it, but Hell in a Cell isn't actually any more special than a standard steel cage match.
Not anymore.
No.
Not anymore.
But it hasn't been arguably since about the third one.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like we're both saying here, like you've already established all the ways to take advantage
of the last real important cell match was the sixth one, and that was Cactus versus Triple H with Mick's career on the line.
Yeah.
Can we get to a point where we don't have Hell in a Cell pay-per-views anymore? Hell in a Cell should be used for a feud. That's it. One feud or whatever.
But the issue with that is everything has to have a theme.
Yeah.
Don't need the Hell in a Cell theme. It's Hell in a Cell match. The match.
Okay.
You don't, but like that doesn't mean WWE doesn't like doing that, and it's an easy one for them.
But if you have 2 cell matches a year, you can just put a fucking bow on it and name it a fucking pay-per-view, and you ain't got to worry about where you put it because you could have a 1 year in August, you could have a 1 year in October, you could have a 1 year in July, and it ain't gonna fucking matter. So right. I mean, it honestly, give me Hell in a Cell every year. If they take this 17 minutes that it took them to come up with the concept of having a pay-per-view of this and put it towards some storyline that makes fucking sense.
Was this a Pat Patterson creation? Who you think did this?
I have no idea.
I think if you go back and actually listen to the Bad Blood episode of Something to Wrestle, I think Bruce actually talks about it. I don't remember offhand who it is, but I think Bruce talks about it.
I do. But I'll say this. It makes me appreciate even more that you threw the Jey Uso and Roman match from last year's Hell in a Cell on your list.
Yeah, I like
that. Really is one of the more unique Hell in a Cell matches where, like, and granted, like, it didn't even necessarily need to be in the cell, but it is. It is what it is. They put it in the cell. And they told a very different story from every other Hell in a Cell match.
And I think
that's appreciated that.
I think that's what kind of stuck out to me. Is like it wasn't for a typical cell match. I mean, I could have been an asshole and put The Fiend versus Seth Rollins and somehow ended up in a disqualification on my list because how the fuck do you get disqualified in a match that has no rules? But I digress. But it's like the storytelling in that I Quit match was almost like, oh, you can do different things inside the cell. You can do
Yes.
other things. Like, I get it. Like, that first one was a story. The third one was a story. The sixth one with Cactus losing and having to retire was a story. And then it was just like, here's the end of the feud for the next, like, 12 years.
It's honestly even why, and like I said, I didn't actually sit down and write out a list because why would I? I don't.
Let's hear your list.
I don't. But if I had put a list together, first of all, yes, HBK and Undertaker would have been on my list. The very first Hell in a Cell match, no question. Another match that would have definitely been on my list, it comes up because of what you were just saying. But the Usos and the New Day one, which was the first ever tag team Hell in a Cell match, if I remember correctly.
Is it the only?
No.
Because you had DX and...
I just told you that the second one was like Austin and...
Oh, you're right.
You're right. Versus Mankind and Kane.
And a few years later, we also had like DX against like
Big Show and the McMahons.
And Shane and Big Show or some shit?
Yeah, they shoved Vince's head in fucking Big Show's ass.
Jesus Christ. But so I'm wrong about that. I was about to say, it was the first time ever. So no, that's actually just a great fucking Hell in a Cell match.
It may be the first time I think the tag titles were defended inside Hell in a Cell. Like,
okay,
that may be a statistic. That
sounds right. Well, either way, but that one stands out because of the performance that both those teams put on. So that one definitely would be on my list. Me personally, and again, like, to me, a lot of the older ones are the best ones. I think that, like to me, Hell in a Cell as a concept, like I said, kind of lost its luster after probably about the first 4 or 5 years. So no surprise that some of the earlier ones would be on my list. Like, honestly, give me the 6-man Hell in a Cell match from Armageddon 2000. I love that fucking match.
I gotta see that one.
You haven't seen that one?
I don't remember it.
So that's the one where Kurt's in there defending the title, and you've got Triple H in there, you've got Steve Austin in there, you've got The Rock in there, you've got Rikishi in there. It has one of the more contrived off of the cell spots, but it is what it is. It's a stunt show. Let's all don't get your panties in a bunch about it. Just enjoy it for what it is. I think it's a fantastic match. It's a car crash, and it's all over the place, and it's crazy, but it's also 5 of the greatest workers of all time and Rikishi all in the cell at the exact same time. And that's just incredible. His sons had a better one, like against the New Day. So
that's facts.
This is why they were able to. Rikishi willed the power onto them from his experience. But yeah, that one would definitely be on my list. I would put the Mick Foley and Triple H one on my list. I think that one's an incredible match. I would also put the Jericho Triple H one on my list from, I think I was 2003,
yes.
2004. It was around that time frame. It's a really underrated one, honestly. Very underrated Hell in a Cell match. I'm a fan of that one.
Here's one that you told me to watch that I wouldn't put on my list, but I did like it. Maybe because the expectations were a little lower. But the Kevin Nash Triple H one from 2003. Yeah. It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad because of the spots that the referee Mick Foley was taking.
You're correct.
The only thing that saved that match.
Right. That match have a low bar.
That match was almost as entertaining as slamming my foot with a hammer.
Was that as bad as fucking the spin the wheel with fucking Stone Cold and Eric Bischoff? Come on now.
If we ever finish that year, I may literally give myself a fucking reward of fucking $7 billion. It's so painful to watch.
So, okay.
No, it's been life.
Wait, but before we move on to the last topic, real quick, only answer the question. You don't have to explain the answer. Just give the answer to the question, okay? Gun to your head. No, that's violent. We're not going to do that. You have to show a Hell in a Cell match to someone who's never seen a Hell in a Cell match before. What's the Hell in a Cell match you're showing them?
First one. That's easy. Next. That's easy. Any match I'm showing is probably the first one.
Interesting. Okay.
I love that match. You have no idea how much I love that match.
Michael.
I'm probably going Cactus versus Triple H from No Way Out in February.
Nice.
Okay. Speaking of topics, Michael, I think I'm going to end this with you.
Joe, which one would you have shown?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Probably the first one also. But I was curious if either of you guys were going to say the King of the Ring one, because that's a big go-to if you've never seen a match before.
I think that one is one that you have to let them see like other versions before you go to the full-fledged car crash.
Okay.
Because once you get to that point, there's no going back.
I'm with you on that.
You're right.
Show them the beauty of the match first. So Shawn Michaels and Undertaker.
Yeah.
Because that match did have bumps, also almost similar to what Mick Foley did, but it was much more coordinated, you know. And then Shawn
taking the bump off the side of the cage. It made Mick taking it off the top of the cage doable, because they were like, all right, well, he didn't die falling off the side, so maybe if he gets off the top, he won't die.
Yeah, the thing is, he got thrown off though, man. That's the worst part. He got thrown off. Like,
I mean, yum.
Anyway,
Undertaker grabbed him and just said, "Yeet."
I hurt watching that match, to be honest with you. Anyway.
There are very few times that I've literally, like, when I see a guy take a bump where I'm just literally, like, rolling on the ground in pain. And it's every time I see him fucking hit that table coming off the top, I'm like,
yeah.
The worst bump for me is the fucking on top of the fucking cage.
When the top gives out.
Yeah, that one hurts me.
But that man then went on to be like, can we find a safer way for me to take that same bump again? And did it then in the fucking Triple H match.
I find it more entertaining that he took those big bumps like that, and the first thing that he says when he comes back behind the curtain is, "Vince, sorry I didn't get the thumbtack spot in."
And they did.
You literally almost died, and you're like, "Sorry I missed the spot."
Can I just say real quick?
It's the spot.
God bless Mick Foley, man. Just gotta say, thank you. Anyway.
He's underrated in a lot of ways.
So underrated. All right, Mikey.
All right. My topic for this week as we wrap up this week's episode of the Take the Wrestling Podcast with the return of Samoa Joe to NXT in a office position as the muscle
enforcer, I guess, right?
Yeah.
We're going with.
Yeah.
With that being said, and the rumors coming out that Joe is not, quote, medically cleared as of yet, maybe not at all. Is this the end of Samoa Joe's in-ring career? And if it is, what is Samoa Joe's legacy to professional wrestling? For those of you that same boat as Ernest, because you're friends with Ernest and you may not have known, Samoa Joe, multi-time X Division champion, multi-time. Didn't he win the world title there like 3 times or something?
He might have. I honestly don't know.
I know he won it at least once.
Yeah.
Held the tag titles probably a couple times. Was one of the longest reigning Ring of Honor world champions at the time. Had great matches in Ring of Honor with the likes of pretty much anyone that you can name on, AEW, WWE, etc. Comes to WWE, wins the NXT title, has a good feud with Finn. So this guy is a guy who's been around for a while, and the rumor is that the head injuries and the neck and the stuff like that's involved, that he may not be able to get cleared anymore. I will tell you that as much as I'm a Brian guy, I'm a Joe guy, and Joe's been one of those guys. And if you haven't, and I don't know if Ernest has, but if you haven't, and you haven't watched the AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels versus Samoa Joe triple threat match at one of those Impact pay-per-views,
It was like,
I don't remember.
Not Unforgiven, like Unstoppable.
Yeah, there was one where they main evented the show, and it deserved to be the main event, and it was the best match that I've probably seen those guys put on ever. And that's coming from a guy like AJ Styles, who's had probably some of the greatest matches of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And that match probably blows the doors off of probably any other AJ match that I could think of off the top of my head. So, it's one of those where having the right dance partners help, but Joe is a guy that was just on a whole nother level. His matches with Angle and Impact were really good. But the funny part was I always go back to his Ring of Honor days, and you knew whenever you heard the champ was here that someone was about to get themselves fucked up. And Joe had great matches in Ring of Honor, and he was probably a main reason why I stayed interested in the indie scene, when it started to take off. Because honestly, whenever everything started to take off, I was living in Virginia at the time, and there wasn't a lot of independent wrestling promotions coming to Virginia all that frequent.
ROH would go to Man Asses.
And I would go every time that they were in Man Ass. It's just one of those things where Virginia wasn't the most easiest place to get clearance to come wrestle. And I know that from hearing stories about our friend Kevin telling us.
Yeah.
So I get it from a business perspective. But it was one of those things where it's like I had to follow a lot of stuff on the internet. I had to watch a lot of clips. I had to talk about it with friends. That's where I met the guy that's on this show with us, Joe Lopez. And it's one of those things where it's like, if I don't see a clip of this random big guy fucking beating people's asses the way that Joe was, I don't know that I get into Ring of Honor as much as I did. And I don't know if I get the things that I've gotten out of being a Ring of Honor fan from, like I said, Joe to, the countless other friends that we've met along the way, Kevin to fucking, Tom and those guys from Two Spot Monkeys that we got to meet through them. And, it's just one of those things where it's like Greg and all the great people we've met. John, our British comrade who, was part of the WrestleMania streaking crew there for a while until he had to sit one out. We miss you, John. We want you to come back to WrestleMania this year if you can make it across the pond. But it's one of those things where it's like, I'll always be thankful for Joe. And I think when I think back to Samoa Joe, it's like, that's one of my guys. It's one of my Mount Rushmore guys. I think he's a guy that I've always will hold in that regards, especially for the early 2000s.
He seems like a cool motherfucker. You just look at him. Looks like a cool motherfucker, dude. That's
I believe that, yeah.
Well,
he's on Cena, right?
Where?
This more goes to Ernest because I'm sure it's something you already know, Mike. Before, he was in WWE and stuff like that, him and John Cena were BFFs.
Mm-hmm.
They trained together back in the early 2000s. In fact, that's the whole reason why John Cena had the champ is here thing when he was the champion. I'm pretty sure Joe suggested that to him. Joe might even have been the one who suggested that he be the doctor of thugonomics and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Well, yeah. I mean, you gotta remember, Joe came out to champ is here.
Yep. Exactly.
So,
no, I feel bad because I didn't get to see a lot of. I saw that maybe the first year of Joe, but he not first year, but when I started watching 2019 again, he had he was U.S. champion at the time, and he lost lost the title to a Ricochet, your boy, Mike.
He's still a dick.
And then he had a match with Kofi was pretty good at that summer at Extreme Rules, whatever it was. And then he had a couple, here and there, but he kept getting hurt. So I had to get a chance to really watch Joe in real time because every time he'd come back, he was back for a month or two, and he was getting hurt again.
So, okay. So a few things.
Yeah.
Number one, you're gonna get to see all of that early Joe Ring of Honor stuff once I'm there because we're gonna be sitting down and watching all those shows.
Yeah, I want to see it because I'm a big fan of Joe.
No, you're going to. I am looking forward to showing you all these shows. Right. Trust me. So, and Joe came into Ring of Honor during their first year. Right. He came in, I think, Glory by Honor was one of his, or the show before that, something like that was his first.
Yeah, he was pretty early into the soiree.
Yeah, no, because he came in with the Prophecy as a hired
his match with Brock
into what they did.
His match with Brock at 2017 Great Balls of Fire Great match.
God,
I liked it.
That's a fucking
I liked
pay-per-view name.
No,
Huh?
I
still
love that
hate-
match too.
I still hate
Thomas.
that that's a pay-per-view name.
Yes, no, I think we all agree on that.
Jesus.
So here's my thing about Joe.
Okay.
I've been a fan as long as Mike has. I've watched Joe since 2002. I've seen him live a million times. I've never thought I'd see him in WWE, and then that actually happened, and that was really cool, to be perfectly honest. In a lot of ways, so it's an interesting question as to whether or not it happened too late. Because on the one hand, I don't know that Samoa Joe would have actually fit into the WWE if he had been signed in 2005 or 2010. Like, remember, there was that point when Punk was first signed by WWE.
Mhm.
That was right after the Punk and Joe series, which talk about some matches.
I heard about that, actually.
Like, yeah, wait till we get to like 2004 in the Ring of
Yeah.
Honor watching, which won't take that long because there's only so many shows they did back then. The Punk versus Joe series of matches are legendary, and they deserve to be legendary, and you're going to see why. After those matches happened, Impact wanted both of those guys. WWE supposedly also wanted both of those guys. And what ended up happening was Punk went to WWE, Joe went to Impact. I don't actually know that I think that Joe would have stood out and become a star in WWE if he had gone there in 2005. I think that he would have first of all, he would have ended up being on like ECW, just like Punk did. But like, I don't know. I feel like WWE wasn't ready for him at the time. The ironic thing is, I feel like in the timeline for where WWE is now for taking, like, accepting indie wrestlers, building on them, not, like acknowledging that they have a career from outside of the company before they got here. Joe came in at the perfect time for all of that. It's just that for him and his body and everything he did to himself and all of that over the years wrestling, by the time he came in, he's obviously in a place now where he's just worn out, and you're not going to get as long a career out of him in WWE as we all wanted. So, I mean, I kind of wish that we had gotten more of him in WWE. I think there's even a potential world where he could have been WWE champion one day if he had gone a longer time being healthy and able to compete in the ring. But I don't actually know that he wouldn't have just kind of floundered if he had been signed by WWE earlier than he was. So, it's an interesting back and forth.
I think he would have been okay if he would have came over with the Punk situation right after the Punk Joe series.
Okay.
I think he would have been okay then. But once he decided to go to Impact, like, I don't know that there was another spot that made sense for him to come in where I would have been like, oh, I believe he would have been okay. Like, I think like when he came in with them developing and all of that it just made sense for him to come in, be the Johnny Gargano of the early days of NXT, where it's like he may never get called up to the main roster, but that's okay because he's having kick-ass matches with everybody else.
Right.
Not the end of the world. So, like, with that being said, it's like one of those things where it's like I'm almost happy that Joe didn't come over at first because we got to see those really good matches with Daniels and Styles and all that fun stuff with Angle and Impact and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm happy about all that stuff. But I guess my other question in this match in this question is, do we get Joe cleared at some point to face somebody who's trying to take advantage of William Regal? And if he does, who do you think it is?
I feel like they've definitely left that door open, which is why they established the rules that they did with him. It's why they didn't just straight up make him the GM.
That's kind of what I think.
And like you don't want to replace Regal. Regal's a legend. I mean, that man, I don't know how he's not even in the Hall of Fame yet. He's
unless Regal's taking time off. If Regal's like, I want to take a vacation, then you'd be like, okay. But at that point, you could storyline be like, oh, William was attacked backstage by someone randomly, and you could just have him just go away for a couple months and then come back and they'd be like, they could figure out that it was Adam Cole or something that did it.
Right. So no, I think that they put the verbiage the way that they did to leave the door open for if he gets cleared to wrestle, we're gonna have him in the ring wrestling, at least a match or something. If it were to happen in the close enough future, and I'm not thinking that it will, him versus Karrion Kross would be fucking awesome. Kross is totally the right character to have a match with Joe. And honestly, if you want to continue establishing Kross as this monster, giving him a big win over someone who at this point is just a veteran and a legend in his own right in Samoa Joe, I think you easily have that case right there for Kross. However, I think Kross is going to end up on the main roster long before Joe is cleared for a match. So I almost don't know who you could I don't know who to answer that question with, because it could happen so far into the future that it doesn't even necessarily have anyone that's on the roster there right now, or like isn't moving around or whatever, you know?
Okay, I think the two names that I come back to obviously is Adam Cole, baby.
Right.
And a guy who may not ever make it to the main roster. And I just mentioned him by name. Give me Joe versus Johnny Wrestling.
Right.
Like, I think those would be two really good NXT matches that if Joe could get himself cleared, and I'm not saying that Joe's actively trying to pursue getting cleared, and I'm not saying that Joe's actively not trying to get himself cleared, because I don't have that information, because guess what, guys? This is just where we talk about it. I'm not fucking commenting on it like I'm Dave Meltzer and I know everything in the world. Joe may be trying day in, day out to be getting cleared. None of the three of us are going to know that answer for you.
No.
We can hope so the day is over, that Joe gets cleared and we get more matches out of him. But Joe may not want to do that. Joe may be more than content with being the enforcer and having a role backstage and maybe turning into the GM / commentating, early next year kind of thing. And if that's what Joe's doing and Joe loves it, like I said, I'll always be thankful for being a Samoa Joe fan for the last 20-ish years.
Yeah.
All right. Joe, what do you love this week?
Oh, shit.
Let's go next week.
I totally had an answer for this, and I can't remember what it was.
Oh, you did have an answer. Okay.
I did.
If he doesn't, I have something for.
Go for it.
Mike, what do you love this week?
What I love this week is the fact that Joe Lopez was able to stay on top of his fantasy wrestling league draft fucking board for most of it without me having to actively fucking punch him in the face. So, to all of our friends on the Global Horseman board, for us getting to round 14 in 4 days, where it normally takes us 12 because Joe times out after 4 hours for the last 9 rounds of the fucking draft. I love that for us.
MVPs.
That was good. Okay, I got my MVP though.
Thank God.
My MVP, because for a minute it was going to be Samoa Joe, but then you took the Samoa Joe topic and I was like, okay, I can just talk about him there. So that was an easy one. And I thought we would review TakeOver, but we didn't. So that's okay, because I can work this into my MVPs. My MVPs are the 5 men who are in the main event of TakeOver in Your House. That's Karrion Kross, Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, baby, Johnny Gargano, and...
He done.
Huh?
He done.
The Drew's delight.
Motherfucking done. Those 5 men went... Okay, so anyone out there who has watched the HBO Max series Legendary, I don't know if either... You guys are both too straight to probably know what this is. It's a ballroom competition, which is a type of dance. It's very gay. And Megan Thee Stallion is one of the judges. It's actually really entertaining. You should definitely watch it at some point. But one of the judges on the show is a fashion designer named Law Roach. Law Roach. And he likes to say, whenever any of the teams come out and, they do a really good job, a really great performance, he likes to say to them, you did what needed to be done. And I'm going to say that to those 5 men. If they went out there in that ring and they did what needed to be done. And that, my friends, was a 5 rainbow flag match might be one of the best matches of the year. No, is one of the best matches of the year. Might be the match of the year by the time it's all said and done. I adored that match. I will gladly give 1/5 of an MVP to each of those men this week, even Karrion Kross, because I actually think he was awesome in that match. Everything about that was great. Also, I've realized that wrestling's a lot more fun when you consider it like one of those competitions, like a dance competition, where every single match is just the two wrestlers trying to put out their best attempt at a wrestling match.
All right. Well, my MVP is actually kind of the same vein, but I'm gonna go with someone else. LA Knight kicked ass.
That
Huh?
because he did what needed to be done.
Done. A great match against Cameron Grimes, and then him turning on fucking DiBiase on Tuesday. It's great.
Yeah, that was a great. I mean,
I like that. So
the fact
LA
that they
Knight,
got Ted DiBiase there for all of that was also kind of amazing.
oh yeah, I loved it. Loved it. So
LA Knight was definitely on my short list of MVPs for this week's abilities.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go in the route of he wants to go. He's telling me he wants to go.
Almost done, buddy.
My MVP this week, I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna do something. I sent this to Joe. I'm going to give it to a gentleman that we lost earlier this week. Former Chikara referee John Barber. The sheriff, as they called him. I don't know exactly what happened in the situation, but he was very young. Sucks.
Yeah.
So I'll give my MVP this week in honor to his memory. And also, another one, and we'll leave it at this. For those of you that don't know, I guess this is the 1 year anniversary week of everyone coming out against all those terrible human beings that some of them are still in wrestling, some of them aren't.
That's right. That's
so kudos to them for coming out, and you made it a year with having to put up with people still trying to defend them. So stay strong.
Yeah,
we got your back. We got your back here on Take 3.
All right, guys. Great show tonight. So I guess enjoy Hell in a Cell. And until next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.